We all want to feel appreciated, right? Well, Elon Musk is no different. He's just like us, y'all. And now he's just very sad that people don't like him because he's taking their jobs. Not in the way that they keep telling us that immigrants are taking our jobs. He's actually taking people's jobs away from them. But he feels the criticism is not deserved, and he feels as though people are just looking for someone to point their angry fingers at, and he and his Doge are just easy, lazy targets. He told the Washington Post, "Doge is just becoming the whipping boy for everything. So like something bad would happen anywhere and we would get the blame for it even if we had nothing to do with it." He also seemed surprised that a single billionaire, even the biggest billionaire of them all, couldn't just go into the government of the most powerful nation in the world and fix everything. He said, "It sure is an uphill battle trying to improve things in DC, to say the least." And really, who could have known? Meanwhile, his companies are tanking both in revenue and reputation, with both Tesla and SpaceX falling disgracefully in the Axios-Harris poll reputation rankings. Tesla sales are struggling in the US and overseas, and Tesla Cybertrucks, which have been riddled with issues and controversies since they hit roadways, are depreciating at alarming rates. Also, they're ugly, and I do feel like I need to mention that every time I talk about them, because in a gray, minimalist, aesthetic world, I feel like injecting some color and beauty and fun and character into life is an act of rebellion. So what I'm saying is that people who drive Cybertrucks are boring and uninteresting, but congratulations on having so much money, I guess. We're all very impressed. Anyway, SpaceX isn't doing a whole lot better. Check this out.
The problems kind of started a few minutes after that, where the booster did not come down all the way to the ocean like they expected it to. And then about 30 minutes or so into the flight, they weren't able to open the payload doors on the ship, so they weren't able to deploy those dummy satellites. Then they had some propellant leaks, and they lost the ability to kind of control the direction of that ship as it goes from side to side. And so when that happened, as the ship's starting to make the re-entry, they can't control it so that the heat shields are in the right place. So the ship just started to spin out of control. It's still coming down.
The timing could not be worse for Elon. He does not need the bad press. SpaceX doesn't need the bad press. Tuesday, on a test flight out of Texas, about 30 minutes after liftoff, the vessel started to spin out of control when it attempted to release its payload. There was a leak in some of the fuel tank systems. And in a moment of PR brilliance, SpaceX posted on X that Starship, quote, experienced a rapid, unscheduled disassembly, which to me is on par with Jada Pinkett's entanglement and Gwyneth Paltrow's conscious uncoupling. Elon tried to spin the disaster as a, quote, great achievement, because despite the rapid, unscheduled disassembly, this ship performed better than previous ones. The previous two exploded just after liftoff, so I guess anything can be considered a great achievement when that's your benchmark. And I don't love celebrating things like this because Elon did not build this ship. Maybe it's because I'm from Houston, this is the space city, but I don't like seeing space initiatives fail. I support the science and the engineering that goes into these things. I know that rocket science is something that most normal people, including myself, obviously can't even begin to wrap their heads around. And I know the kinds of people who work in the space industry here. I grew up around them. They really are just big old space nerds, and I mean that in the best way possible. I respect them. But even around here, billionaires getting involved in the space industry has been met with a lot of mixed feelings and internal conflicts. Elon Musk, along with other space-affiliated billionaires, have somehow managed to make space travel and exploration less cool, which is really saying something. The industry, however, needs the money that these billionaires are pouring into it, but the realities of accepting that money is sometimes very hard to swallow. Also, nobody likes X, but nobody liked it before either, even before Elon took it over. I've been saying for years that it is the worst place on the internet, and the only reason I still have an account there is because sometimes I need it to do work like this. You're welcome. Anyway, while Elon insists that he's cut back from the work he's been doing with the government, i.e. the mass firings of government workers, the initiative he led is still in progress. Despite Elon's efforts to now distance himself from the Department of Government Efficiency, his name and face will likely be associated with mass firings and the gutting of entire departments for a long time. But Elon was always just working as an extension of the Trump administration and Trump himself. Now, with Elon trying to stay out of the picture, the ire has turned more directly towards Trump. Trump is now trying to make it even easier to fire federal workers, and the backlash has been swift and biting. But before we get to the backlash, here is what they're trying to do. In a move taken straight out of the Project 2025 playbook, which Trump still somehow denies as the MO of his entire presidency, Trump now wants to fire even more people. Up to 50,000 civil servants could be impacted, according to the Office of Personnel Management. From the Daily Beast, the push to strip federal workers of their civil service protections began after Trump resumed office, when he issued an executive order reinstating a category of political appointees known as Schedule F. This schedule would specifically relate to people in senior policy-making roles who would be easier to fire if they are believed to be performing poorly or subverting presidential directives. Unfortunately for Trump and his administration, regulatory changes like this one cannot be finalized until there has been a period of public comment. The administration has received feedback from over 1 million people, and a lot of the feedback is not good. Of course, there were Trump flunkies who love the idea of tens of thousands of people getting fired from their jobs in the name of eradicating bureaucracy and boosting government efficiency and staffing the government with only those who support Trump's policies and agenda without question. But then you have people like Carol Blacker, who said, "May the fleas of 1 million camels infest your armpits, privates, and all your toadies." Leah Veldhusen said, "No president should have this much power. This is why the US has a president and not a king." And Kevin Struhl said this, "A total disaster. There aren't words to describe how bad this initiative is." I don't think any of this feedback will deter this administration from doing exactly what it wants to do, because while we proclaim to be a democracy, the will of the people really only matters on election days. Trump isn't worried about getting reelected after this, and he doesn't seem too concerned about the future of the Republican Party either. All of those Congress people who still support Trump and these initiatives will likely, hopefully, be in for a rude awakening come re-election time, but who knows? Half of the country voted for Trump even after he said he was going to do exactly what he is now doing. So I don't know, maybe people dislike getting fired by their government. All right, that's it for me. If you got anything out of this, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more. Thanks.